Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So today this video is the clash of the titans, in my opinion. These are the two sort of better multi-tools from the Gerber and from the Leatherman stable. From Leatherman we've got the Leatherman Surge, which is the largest multi-tool in their category. We do have a torch and a little wrench on the side adding to the kit. I don't have the bit set in here as yet, but I will be adding that soon. So this is just a bit of a chat about these two, what the differences are, how the two sort of compare. In the Gerber, we've got the multi-tool and we've got a basic set of bits in here, 1/4 inch drive bits. Being the center drive, it takes standard 1/4 inch bits. So yeah, we're going to see how it stacks up. Now, just to compare for carry, both of these pouches are more or less the same in length and breadth. Bearing in mind, of course, if we actually compare the pouch without these side flaps, they are pretty much almost identical in breadth. The biggest difference is in the depth of carry. At the moment you can see the Leatherman is a bit more compact, but I expect that to fill out when I add the bit set in the not too distant future. In this set over here I already have the 1/4 inch drive bit sitting in the front pouch, so it does protrude a little bit more. Now before we even get inside and talk about the tools, let's talk about the belt clips on these, or even let's just talk about the pouches on the outside. Leatherman's Surge pouch that this one came with is quite nice because you can add a torch or something else here. You can add your extension bar or something else here. I've added a 1/4 inch drive ratchet. It's quite nice. Of course, with the Gerber you don't have any such feature. There is a pouch in the front over here in front of the tool separated for your bits. Again, with the Leatherman you've got the pouch in the back and the inside for your bits and for your extra blades for the blade exchanger. Then onto the belt. If we flip these two over, this is where now the Gerber pouch, in my opinion, wins the race, because the Leatherman you can carry it one way and one way only, your belt going through like so. With the Gerber you can carry it this way, or you can carry it through these loops horizontally on your hip, which does make it a little bit easier to carry. So for me, that was a big plus on the Gerber side of things. But we're not here just to talk about the pouches, we're here to talk about the tools. So let me get these both out, just the bare tools, so we can have a look at what's inside them. I'm not going to talk about this torch or this ratchet that I've added to the Surge, because those are extras that I've added. So we're going to talk about the bare tool and the bare tool and the differences between them. So let's check it out. Alright, so yeah, we have the two multi-tools out of the pouches. You can see, I can tell you now that the depth between here and upwards, they're about the same. Maybe this one protrudes a little bit more because of the center drive on the side. As far as the width this way, this one does protrude a little bit more because of the design, but if you compress it in, it's only fractionally wider. And the length of this one is obviously a little bit more because of the way the one-handed plier tool is deployed on this thing. Now, before we even get a closer look at these, I just want to tell you the center drive has far less tools than the Surge. The Surge has a lot of bonus stuff on it, which is really great, like the replaceable blade exchanger, and it generally does have more blade options on the tool. But in so saying, the Gerber, if you're more of a person who's using screwdrivers a lot and maybe a blade and a pry tool, this might be the way to go. Both of them have got decent pliers on. The Surge plier head is much stronger in my opinion, and the cutter, the replaceable blades on this, is also in my opinion a bit stronger than what you get on the Gerber Centre Drive. But in so saying, both sort of flagship models of the tools in question. So I just want to talk about the key differences between these two quickly. So let's quickly get them opened up. The Leatherman Surge, we're going to look here at the plier heads. That deploys by swinging it open, and of course the center drive, you just slide it out and you've got the tool. Now the center drive is spring loaded, the Surge isn't. The plier heads are more or less the same size, but the Surge is beefier. This one has tungsten carbide, and I think this one has the higher grade steel, stainless steel cutters. Both of them have got needle nose pliers, both of them have got standard pliers, and they've got cutters on them. Something I've noticed, the MP600 has got a crimper down the back over here, like the Surge, but the center drive doesn't. So that's one thing to note between these two tools. But again, if you're looking for pliers, both of them are fairly strong. This one doesn't have much wiggle, except for a wiggle to frame, but the actual wiggle of the plier head isn't there. The Surge is still an absolute monster when it comes to using the pliers. Now, the biggest difference comes between these two. Let's just close this up for now. The way that these use bits, the center drive uses sort of this system over here, which uses a standard 1/4 inch bit, and of course it is center axis when you're turning, which does make things a little bit easier. The Surge, on the other hand, uses the proprietary Leatherman bit set, which is not center. You can get adapters to make it take 1/4 inch bits, but it does use the proprietary out of the box, which is what we're talking about. So you can see there's quite a large difference in the screwdriver capacity or capability in these tools, and of course being able to take 1/4 inch bits. For me, driving, the center drive wins that race hands down. So on the next point, I'm not going to go through tools and compare them tool to tool. I'm just going to compare them with the tools that they do have. So let's just close this up quickly. The Surge has that brilliant knife, and then it's got a standard fixed blade knife, or non-serrated, so serrated and a standard. So let's put this away, and let's just do a quick comparison on the knife. Both knives are accessible externally, and as you can see, both knives are very large in my opinion. In fact, they're more or less the same size, slightly different. This has got a more of a sheep's foot cut off over there, whereas this is more your traditional sort of knife that you'd expect from Leatherman. This knife blade also looks a lot beefier, but both large knives, both great for cutting, and both have a locking mechanism or a liner lock mechanism from the frame lock, liner lock, whatever you want to call it. So on the knife category, in my opinion, I think the Leatherman has a bit of a better knife, but nothing wrong again with the Gerber. So let's get inside the Gerber and have a look at the other tools that are inside there. It does have a couple. So here on this side, before we go, is just a little bit holder. Holds one extra bit. I think, in my opinion, might be a little bit of a waste of space, but it is what it is. Then over here, we have this Pry Bar. Now, the closest thing that the Leatherman has to that Pry Bar, in my opinion, would be, let's just find it here, the large flat screwdriver, which it does ride with multiple tools, but it does have this large flat screwdriver over here. But again, it's not a proper pry bar like this. This one has the bottle opener and pry bar sort of in one. It is quite beefy if you look at it, and angled up, so you've got a bit of leverage when you're trying to pop something out. So yeah, that's quite nice. It also does have this lock where you've got to push this down to unlock and put the tool away. Then over here we have a file, again included in the Surge in the bit exchanger, or blade exchanger I should say. Then over here we have an awl, also included right there in the Surge, quite nice. And then over here we have the Serrated Blade. Now let's just talk quickly about these serrated blades. One thing about the Leatherman Surge, which in my book makes it a great tool, is outside accessible. And of course you can look at the size difference in those serrated blades. The Surge wins this race completely hands down. There's no question about that. Also the fact that I can deploy those tools without having to open up the tool like this, fantastic. So yeah, that there ends the center drive sort of tool selection. As I mentioned, this is more of a plier / screwdriver with a really great knife blade on it. So it does perform very well, admirably. And in IT, I think this is probably all you'd ever need in a multi-tool. If you need more than that, it's completely crazy. But if you're doing more heavy duty work and you need a larger selection of tools, scissors, you name it, the Surge will be your king. So in my book, Clash of the Titans, they both have their benefits. If you're not looking for a massive assortment of tools, if a lot of your work revolves around a pair of pliers and driving screws and fasteners, the center drive will definitely get you by. Plus it has a great knife, which is great for multiple tasks and getting things done. The Surge has a great selection of tools, a great pair of pliers, a great knife. It's just a great all-around tool that can do so much work. And the blade exchanger on here is brilliant. The bit exchanger is nice, but the center drive, in my opinion, is a better driving tool for driving screws home or whatever the case may be, because of the 1/4 inch bit driver. If you want the same capability from the Surge, you would have to get an adapter, and of course then you could drive 1/4 inch bits. I feel a bit more confident on the bit driver on the Centre Drive at the moment, because the Surge bit driver is kind of the same as the Leatherman Wave, and I have had a Leatherman Wave bit driver fail when I was loosening a standard Phillips #2 screw in a piece of wood. The driver holder sort of shattered open and I had to send it in. Bearing in mind, Leatherman does have that great warranty. They fixed it up, sent it back, no questions asked. So that is brilliant. But yeah, if you want something light duty or sort of heavy duty, being able to use a pair of pliers, a driver, a knife, and a pry tool, and a couple of other things, Centre Drive is probably the way to go. More expensive option, the Leatherman Surge, also a great tool, much more tools to select from. But if you don't need them all, then check out the Gerber Centre Drive. If you want the penultimate sort of best in the line, most powerful multi-tool, check out the Surge. There we go. That's a bit of a review and a comparison between the two. And until next time, everybody, have a great one. Cheers for now.